Today on Locked On Phoenix Suns, the trade rumors are already flying. No one can even be traded until next week, but that doesn't stop the NBA rumor mill from going and going and going, and the Suns just might have a link to two of the biggest names on the market. We'll break them both down next.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Phoenix Suns. I'm Brendon Kleen, a staff writer at Awful Announcing and a credentialed Suns media member. Thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen on this Wednesday. Don't forget, Locked On Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button and do what thousands of other Suns fans have already done. Become an everydayer and get locked on to the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA when you do to get $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, from the wonderful West Valley, my fellow Suns credentialed media member. How are we feeling on this Wednesday? Ben Garcia. Oh, you're muted. Say hello
I'm
to
good.
The people.
I do that so I'm not breathing or coughing
I appreciate
or whatever.
it. No, that's great.
And it helps me from talking over you. It allows me to press this before I'm done. But either way, I'm good. I was a little frustrated this morning when you texted me some of the things that we're going to talk about today, and it was all via Shams Charania. Who is the reporter that is going to take on Shams? Because we already had Woj. And then we kind of learned why Woj kind of stepped aside because, he's got his own issues with things that he's got going on in his life. And there's no one to rival him. There's no more Team Shams, Team Woj.
Are you volunteering?
No. Being an insider would be the worst job in the world.
Did you see what Woj called the life he was living? He said it's all vapor.
I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean?
That means it's meaningless, and I have to agree with him. I think that
awful.
Type of news breaking is fairly mindless. You get paid a heck of a lot of money, but it is probably not very fulfilling work. So,
even
shout
Adam
out to
Schefter
Woj for leaving it behind. Yeah,
even Schefter saying he's finishing stories after what we'll call was a date with a girl at one point, or Woj just saying he's breaking news in the shower. It is, yes, you make a lot of money and that's great if you're at the top 1%. But it used to be Shams v. Woj, and it kind of felt like everyone is on Woj's side, and now there's no one there. And so when I saw that this morning, it's the first thing I saw. It's via Shams. Is anyone going to give this guy a run for his money? He's getting a little too high for his horse, a little too big for his britches.
Mm-hmm. Someone will. But let's get to that news, which was regarding one Jimmy Butler, who was the subject of a lot of chatter over the summer because Pat Riley, who runs things over in Miami, basically said, we're not giving Jimmy an extension. We need him to be more available. And that kind of just left it open-ended. And fast forward to now, he still doesn't have a contract beyond this season and obviously is a very good player. So Shams reported that, quote, the Heat are open to listening to offers for Butler and making a deal if the proposal is right. Butler's agent has indicated in league circles, whatever that means, that Butler is open to destinations such as two of the Texas teams, Houston Rockets and Dallas Mavericks, as well as the Golden State Warriors. Remember, Butler is from the Houston area, and he wants to be on a win-now team. So, Ben, let's, off the top here, just review that Jimmy is making a ton of money, right? So he is making $48.79 million, and he has a player option for next season that he could choose to lock in. But, of course, from a Suns standpoint, the most important part of what Jimmy's salary is that it is less than Bradley Beal's salary, right? And as a reminder, the Suns can only acquire players who make less than the player that they are sending out. So Jimmy would check that box. It would basically have to be one of the big three. Of course, you're not trading Booker or Durant for him. So here we are. What are your thoughts on the idea of getting into this mix and just the general idea of the Suns even exploring this type of big move? Because this one would be in season, and that would be a huge disruption, obviously.
Yeah, actually, let me ask you a couple of questions, Brendon. When you trade anyone, Warriors, any of the two Texas teams, the Suns in this instance, do you have to give Jimmy Butler a contract? Will he go with you if you don't sign with him long term?
Yeah, well, I think that's a good thing to cover here, right? Because Shams basically reported that he is not looking at it. It doesn't sound like, as I'm just trying to direct myself to the team where I'll sign an extension now or a new contract or whatever. Of course, that might be ultimately where this goes. We're only in round 1 of the whole reporting here, but honestly, I hate to put it this way, and it's going to obviously sound a little bit brutal to Beal, and we're kind of in the territory of talking about people as just what their salary number is here, but the reality is a big part of the value for the Suns to do a deal like this would be to just get off of Beal's money. So obviously, it would affect how much I'm willing to give up if I'm James Jones and Matt Ishbia, if I'm keeping Butler or not, or anybody else. But I also wouldn't hate the idea of only having Butler for 2 years and having Beal for 3, and that would be part of the appeal here for me, if I'm being honest. So I think it'd be fine if they don't do that.
Is it it's the over 38 rule, correct? I don't have all the so Butler can still sign a 2-year extension after the season, correct? Because he's 35.
He's only 35, so I think you're right.
So let's just say for all matters. Sometimes in the Suns community, I like to, be the voice of reason when it comes to Suns, and just Arizona in general. And I feel like sometimes that comes off as me being a contrarian. I think it would be a disaster to trade for Jimmy Butler. And at first, I know, different opinion, but like at first when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, why not? Here's the issue with Jimmy Butler. It's the same issues that you have with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal last year played 53 games. Jimmy Butler played 60. Jimmy Butler this year has played 1 more game than Bradley Beal has, and they've played an extra game this year, right? You're shaking it. I don't think you knew that. I didn't know that. But that's what we do. We look into some of the other stuff. And not only that, his numbers are down everywhere outside. His field goal percentage is up. His free throw shooting is down. His three-point shooting is way down. He is starting, and we kind of saw this last year for Jimmy Butler a little bit. And also, like, guys, it's Pat Riley. If Pat Riley is moving off of someone, it's probably because he knows something. When are the Miami Heat in a scenario where they are getting got? They are always the ones doing the hustling. If it were me, I would stay far and away from Jimmy Butler because he's going to want a contract extension. And also ask yourself this. The Bulls moved off of Jimmy Butler. The Timberwolves moved off of Jimmy Butler. 76ers moved off of Jimmy Butler. The Heat are willing to move off of Jimmy Butler. What does that say about Butler? Probably something similar to Chris Paul, where like he wears you out a little. I know you're desperate to get off the Bradley Beal contract, and of course, in a way, so am I. But going and getting a guy who just is going to ask for a contract extension at the end of the year, and then you either lose him for nothing or, whatever. He doesn't come here because you don't give him a contract extension. Like, that's usually how these things work. That's where I'm at with it. And I know to the naked eye, it does seem like Jimmy Butler, why not, right? He's a little bit bigger, 6'7", if I'm not mistaken. Bradley Beal's smaller. He could fit here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good fit, man. I don't think it's a good fit. And I understand why scorned Suns fans possibly feel like he is. Where are you at?
The fit is a big reason why I would at least consider it. The other reason being exactly what I mentioned a moment ago in terms of the lengths of these contracts. I think that anything to shorten the commitment that you're making for that third star and potentially, have some wiggle room to maybe not give Butler the max of max of max and just decrease the overall number would be appealing. It's a better fit than Beal in terms of just the way that Butler plays. I mean, yes, like we can all just remember they have not put Butler on, for instance, a Devin Booker in the games that they've played for 48 minutes the way that they undoubtedly would have 5 years ago, even 3 years ago when they were in the finals, whatever. So he is breaking down. He's not, but if you were to put him on a team, I mean, this year, this group, part of the weird thing about this Heat team is he's just been so overburdened with having to be the best offensive player as well. So, I mean, I could make a case for why his being just more of a specialist in a Suns environment, I could lay out a case for why that could work. I just have to be realistic, though, even if you and I may vary a little bit, Ben, as far as the value here or whether it's worth it or whatever. This is just an example to me where we haven't even mentioned Bradley Beal's no trade clause, so obviously that's hovering. We mentioned if Butler would want to re-sign. Then there's also, are the Suns even going to be able to come to the table with a competitive offer? And my guy Wes Goldberg, who I used to do the Just Basketball show with and does Locked On Heat for us, he also writes about the Heat, did an article looking at potential trade packages, and I'm looking at the Warriors one. It includes Kuminga and 2 firsts. The Mavericks offer he put together would include a bunch of their role players and 1 first next year, at least. So,
is Podziemski in that deal?
Is nice.
Would Podziemski be in that deal with the Warriors? He hasn't been great this year.
Yeah, I don't think Miami's getting Kuminga, Podziemski, and 2 firsts for an expiring Butler. That feels extreme to me.
Well, you mentioned some of those deals. The Mavericks one doesn't really entice me that much. The Warriors, Kuminga, some picks, and just the ability to develop probably works out well for the Heat. But just to kind of throw this in there, just to kind of give Suns fans an idea to remember, Bradley Beal originally picked the Suns or the Heat. So I do think he would waive a no trade clause there because, I mean, it is South Beach, crystal blue water. But you're right. It is a good thing to put out there. No trade clause.
And Miami's a team that would, even if they get rid of Jimmy, they would still be looking to probably win now, right?
Yeah,
because they still have Tyler Hero. They still have Bam Adebayo. So that's a more appealing place for Beal to go than some of the other places that I see thrown around. And then obviously Houston, I didn't mention, they can outbid anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just, I don't think the Suns would have the most competitive offer, but we know how star trades work. So, it's only one request or carefully worded leak away from being it's only here or nothing, right? That's how these things go. I don't think it's a no, but I think there's just too many factors working against this one, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this then, because we know how these things go. But let's say that all of that goes well. But we also have to put in there that he probably wants an extension too, likely a 2-year extension, because the Stars want their money. But let's say, and he can go to the Suns. All he has to do is say this: I will only play for the Phoenix Suns. Trade me there. That's what Bradley Beal did, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm not playing anywhere else. Let's say he did that. Let's say he called out the Suns. Let's say it would be Bradley Beal, 2031 first, and whatever. Would you do the deal? That's, I think, what people want to know.
It would have to only be that. That's the other thing to remember, because the Suns are capped out and whatever.
It's just Beal.
It can't
Beal
be anything
and then
else.
whatever. Yeah, couple of seconds. Your 2031.
All the seconds you have, the 2031 pick and Beal. That. Yes, I would do that.
Okay, I would not, and I know I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for that, but I wouldn't do that. Just a 35-year-old breaking down. I don't want to get back in that business. Let's just ride the wheels that we have here until they fall off.
We have a deal coming up that Ben would do, and he'll tell you why in just one moment. First, today's show brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. We know the big favorites to cash in on those 150 bonus dollars do not come from the NFL. Let's not be silly here. They come from college sports. And right now, Villanova on Wednesday night, minus 30,000 favorites to beat Fairleigh Dickinson. I know Fairleigh Dickinson actually makes the tourney every so often, but Villanova, monster favorites. Throw your $5 there, get the $150, and get to work. Have some fun with the wide world of sports beyond that. All at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's show also brought to you by Mint Mobile. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. And when Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bill, and unexpected overages. I've told you before, I get all the texts about all the random charges and nickels and dimes that come our way because for whatever reason, my phone number is the primary on our whole family account. I just have my little plan within it. But it is absurd to me how many little notifications I get that such and such voice and text and data is going over or under, or this much is left, and you're going to have to pay this fee if you don't change this on time. It's obnoxious. It is a pain, and Mint Mobile's trying to fix it. So get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month by going to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, Ben. I'm going to let you tell the people what the deal is that you are a little more intrigued by than Mr. Butler. First, a reminder for everybody to sign up for the Locked On Suns daily newsletter. Click that link in the show description wherever you're finding us, YouTube or audio. Scroll down a little bit, click it right there, type your email address in, get awesome NBA analysis from Katie Heindel and Mike Shearer, our friends, great writers, fantasy advice, news from around the league and from here in Suns land. Stay up to date with the show, and best of all, support the show. Get a little bit of writing and color from Ben and I as well, and it goes a long way. All right, Ben, tell the people what you have your eye on.
Okay, so I texted Brendon this morning, and it was basically, hey, just quick question. Could you trade, like if we're just talking about today, trading for Jimmy Butler, there's another superstar out there that people probably already know exactly what it is, but there are some rumblings that the Lakers could potentially trade LeBron James. And my thought of it is, well, listen, the Lakers are a star-driven league. Could you swap Bradley Beal for LeBron James? Now, you're still going to add all your second-round picks. You're going to add your first-round pick. But you have to remember this as well. I understand he's older. I understand this contradicts the LeBron James, Jimmy Butler thing. But LeBron James is older, and I still think he is capable of being the best player on the planet for small stretches. And when you pair him with Kevin Durant, when you pair him with Devin Booker, I think that is a recipe that could work. Not to mention LeBron James has just worked everywhere, and he's brought a championship everywhere he's went. And so I look at LeBron James, potentially these rumors that he could go to the Warriors. If he walked to the Lakers, now I'm not saying LeBron will get traded, but if he walked to the Lakers and said, listen, I want to go there, I don't think it's crazy that you could flip Beal, your first, some seconds, and you have to take his son along as well, because that's what we do in the NBA now. You have to bring his son along as well. And we know that the Suns did have interest in Bronny James. So I think if we're talking about trading for older superstars, I think LeBron James fits that mold better than I think Jimmy Butler does. So I know it sounds crazy, Brendon, but if we're talking crazy hypothetical trades, I think that fits the bill.
Yeah, I don't think it's outlandish. What's actually weird is it may work, but the Bronny part might actually not work because they have to be under Beal's salary. But that's neither here nor there. The bigger issue that I have with it, I think LeBron is not only a worse fit than Butler if the Suns were to explore something like this, but also a worse fit than Beal. Because this version of LeBron James does not play defense. And I have to take issue. It pains me to say this. I'm as big a LeBron fan as anybody. He has defined the NBA for my entire life. LeBron is not playing
Curse the
defense
king,
anymore.
I dare you. Yeah, he does.
LeBron's not playing defense anymore. And, okay, yes, you could just say he's your point guard, right? But they kind of already have one of those. I mean, they don't kind of. They have one of those. Tyus Jones is that. And we talked a lot yesterday about how actually adding that one more cook to the kitchen, if you want to call it that, has given the Suns just as much to adjust to as it has helped them. So I guess I'm just kind of confused what LeBron would be adding to this team. As stupid as that sounds, LeBron adds a lot, even at his advanced age. I don't think he's capable of being the best player in the league anymore, like you said, even for a game. I just don't. I don't think we're there anymore. And so what exactly role are you bringing him in to fill that this team, when you look at what they actually need, what is he filling?
Now, listen, I understand that this LeBron is such a polarizing figure that this is going to get a lot of like attention on it. But my biggest thing is like, not only do I think LeBron still can defend, he doesn't right now, but I think if you asked him in a playoff situation where you need to get a stop, I still think he can do that. He can play 1 through 5, so he fits in anywhere. I think you could play him again with some small ball. But I think the biggest thing as well that LeBron James brings to this team is championship pedigree and leadership. There is no better leader in the NBA outside of LeBron. They almost shut down the bubble until they looked at LeBron and said, hey, are we playing? And then everyone decided to play. So I think just a smart basketball player that fits, I think, in any system. I understand the 3-point shot isn't as elite as it used to be, but I still think because the Lakers are asking him to do a ton, I don't think you would have that here. And I think, again, I know you don't think so, but I just think that is unequivocally wrong because I just saw LeBron James the other night against the Grizzlies have 39 points and a triple-double. I still think he's capable in short instances, not every night, be the best player on the floor and be a freight train coming down the tracks. The guy can still get to the rim, and I still think as well he could be a pretty good defender. Now, again, this is not me saying this is going to happen or I think LeBron James is going to get traded. But I think if the Warriors to Lakers rumor is out there that LeBron could want to join Steph, which I get, I think it is just as reasonable that LeBron could choose to go to the Suns than he could choose to go to the Warriors. And I don't care what the Warriors package is. If he tells the Lakers he wants to be in Phoenix, LeBron James trades himself, not to mention his contracts are almost always 1 in, 1 out. Like they're always very favorable to the team because LeBron knows he can get money wherever he goes because he's LeBron freaking James. So I think that's something that is very feasible.
Yeah, has a player option for next year. And to be more specific, we heard from Kendrick Perkins, for instance, who said that he believes that if if the Lakers were to come to LeBron this time around and explore something like that Rich Paul would not shut it down the way that he did reportedly last year, and then that got sort of run with over at ESPN the way that ESPN loves to do, where that becomes a whole storyline and everything. And we do know that there was that talk around the deadline last year when it comes to the Warriors, and also in multiple different occasions the Suns have kind of been very lightly teased as far as LeBron's availability, including 2015, 2019, or I guess 2014, 2019, last year with Bronny. It's never felt anywhere near real, but we saw with Chris Paul, the proximity to LA and everything else can be appealing in its own way. So I don't think it's an impossibility, but both of these feel like long shots, right? We can agree.
Yeah. Absolutely long shots, improbable. We're not trying to blow smoke. We're just topping hypothetical because things can change. But just really quickly, who's the Warriors GM, and is he really good friends with LeBron James? Because I know of a certain GM that's really good buddies with LeBron James. That could, I don't know, maybe help with recruiting. I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, the James Jones connection has always been there, and
so it's a real connection. We know he inflated his son's draft status because just to scratch LeBron's back. It's a real thing, man.
No, they liked him. They liked Bronny. They really believed in him.
Hey, I want to say this. When the Lakers came to town the first time, and I was with you, I was walking onto the court, had my head down, and I walked in. I walked right into Bronny James. And I was like, I just said, excuse me, man. Sorry. I walked like face first into him. That guy is tiny. Bronny James is a tiny human being. He is not much. If he's 6'1", it is a generous 6'1", man. He might not very big, not very tall. And man, that was really shocking to me how small that guy was. Maybe he could do the show with us. I mean, listen, he's already got enough money. When his dad comes here, he can jump on with us.
Selfishly, living like a mile and a half from where the Valley Suns play, I don't want the traffic. So that's where I really come down on this whole thing. I don't want I don't want my commutes to be 5-10 minutes longer. So I don't need LeBron. I'd rather take the easy
How dare
drive.
You know how many people would stop rooting for the Suns because LeBron's here? Some people hate LeBron. I can't believe they hate LeBron,
people are
but they hate LeBron. You don't have
Same
to
reason people hate Brady or Mahomes. I mean, it's
stupid.
greatness.
And I understand
it's
they dislike LeBron because he's a little bit more vocal with his. I don't care what way an athlete thinks outside of basketball. LeBron is the best basketball player of all time. Like, I just cannot believe that people still dislike him for things. Like, I don't care. You play basketball really well. That's what I'm into. So, just crazy, man.
We have another story outside of Suns world and a little bit in the past of the Phoenix Suns that got both Ben and I's imaginations going that we will close the show with coming up next from the world of college basketball. First, today's show brought to you by the Game Time app, the best place to buy any ticket. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Whether you are, for instance, here in our lovely city of Phoenix, and you want to see something, but you're just not sure what, or you are dead set on going to see one specific game, concert, comedy show, theater show, or whatever, go to Game Time. Their Game Time Picks feature will put the best value right up top, whether that is within a city or a place or for a specific event. You're getting the best deal right there for you at the top of the list. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Alrighty, Ben, let's close it out. So, AJ DeBonsa, who was the number 1 overall recruit for this high school class, originally from outside of Boston, and now going to what I believe is just called Utah Prep, which is not very creative of a name there, but he picked BYU against, I guess if he's going to Utah Prep, probably not against all odds, but if you would have asked anybody 2 years ago, is the top recruit going to go to BYU, nobody would have said yes. And yet, the much-loved and then much-hated Suns assistant coach Kevin Young, remember him? That's where he went. In case you forgot, he went to BYU to be the head men's basketball coach. Got a pretty good recruiting class this year for the Big 12, and now nails the number 1 overall recruit. We can dig through whatever elements of this interest you, Ben, but I just have to ask, would you rather be Kevin Young where he is now or where he was last year?
It's so hard because BYU's so different. It's not like being the head coach of, I don't know, the North Carolina Tar Heels or like Duke or like being one of those guys. It's just different because it's not like the same, I don't think, college feel because it's got, kind of the religious ties to it and everything like that. And it's pretty hold strongs to those things. But I mean, listen, man, I think I'd have to say the BYU job after seeing where he got this money from. Ryan Smith and not Colangelo, what's the guy? Danny Ainge, or just donating gobs of money. They gave this guy $7 million for 1 year. That is crazy to me. That is nuts. I understand that he's supposedly a great player, but holy cow, man. We're a long ways away from DeAndre Ayton getting $100,000 in a McDonald's bag left at his house that U of A didn't know about. But it's just wild, man. I would rather be the BYU coach if I got this kind of support in NIL. just nuts.
It's funny, right? How certain coaches are leaving college. Tony Bennett, obviously, most notably, and then
That was wild.
there's some coaches who,
Who's the
of
Nova
course,
coach that left? Jay Wright. Jay Wright left too.
Jay Wright and
Chesky.
Coach K and Roy Williams at UNC. Kind of everybody outside of Thomas Ho from the like legend class is gone, and the Syracuse dude too is gone. So
Boeheim.
And then there would have been the college to NBA pipeline, which it feels like is dead, coach-wise. And then Kevin Young's like this odd one out who went the other direction, and I think kind of raised a lot of eyebrows. Obviously, the BYU thing, that is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if you are part of the LDS church, which Kevin Young was, and so makes a lot of sense to go take advantage of that. I think a lot of people would get that. So it is different, like you said, but he was still, forget how last year went or even the Suns, like dating back all the way to when he was in Philly before Monty hired him over here. He was looked at as a potential up-and-coming future NBA head coach. He ditched all of that, goes to a program nobody thought much of, and he's kind of turned the thing into a powerhouse in like 12 months. So major W's all around for Kevin Young. I think he is laughing in all the Suns fans' faces who hated on him all of last year, and he's getting the last laugh here.
Well, there is something different to being a head basketball, even just a glorified OC in the NBA than it is, as I'm looking up BYU's record right now. They're 6-2, so they're doing all right, but it's different from being the man. But listen, they've played Colorado Christian, Central Arkansas, UC River. It looks like Panera Bread State, McDonald's University, and Subway Community College. So we'll have to wait and see until they play an actual team. But BYU has listen, man, this is what I will say. Those Mormons love their basketball. I don't know if you've ever been to an LDS church to play basketball. Some of the nicest courts, man.
It's not an experience I've ever had.
I have done it a few times. I have done it a few times where they're like very polite and
aren't we not supposed to go in there?
Well, no, I don't want to jump that far. And I think it's different.
I think you were breaking some rules there, Ben.
Was I? Listen, I don't know. Maybe. Listen, they had a great court. Had one of my best shooting days. Some might say I was blessed. But it was those Mormons they love their basketball. Love it.
Yeah, it's not like they've never had a good team, right?
Nope.
Jimmer and there's been Mormon athletes in the NBA, Danny Ainge being one of them. And so look, I'm not here to say it can't happen, but they're not a blue blood program. They are not like the place. If you were to say, hey, an NBA up and coming head coach is going to leave the pros and go coach a college program instead, you would never say he was going to do it at BYU. And here Kevin Young is. If people want to boo him and show him all the hate that they have for him, Wednesday, February 26th, he will be in Tempe. So there you go.
No one in the crowd is even going to know that. If we're just going to see some random white dude coaching the BYU Cougars, say, oh, look, you still got a head coach. No one's going to know that. Maybe you and I could go. See if we can get some actual juicy details on what happened last season.
Next year, I will tell you that game will be sold out now that Mr. DeBonsa is in the blue and white here.
How do you say his last name? I'm not going to act like I think
it's DeBonsa, but I've never heard
you think
it said, so I
you think Kevin Young's just going to You think Kevin Young's just going to stick him in the corner like he did with KD? Zinger!
Probably.
Zinger!
That is probably the fate. Watch him drop. Watch him be like the 8th pick. And we do this segment again a year from now, and we're all laughing again. This is all
a conspiracy to get him to drop to fall to the Suns.
Well, there was a story that his dad said he could see him playing for the Suns, and I'm like, brother, I need you to check out like how the NBA draft works before you say things like that. You're gonna make people come into our comment section thinking that that's realistic, and it is not. So he's not gonna play for the Suns. I'm sorry. I know that'd be awesome for everybody, but you'll just have to settle. Good Exactly. That'll be the closest. That'll be the closest connection to the Suns that AJ has, I think. But fun one to wrap on. That'll wrap the show. Hit follow, subscribe if you haven't already. Become an everydayer. We got content for you right in this feed daily. That is the promise. Sign up for the Locked On Suns daily newsletter as well at the link down below in the show description, wherever you are finding us. That is a big way to support the show, and we will catch you tomorrow.